Okay, welcome to part 2, and here we are in part 2. So let's go ahead and jump in, and let's see, I remember we needed to fix the nostrils up some, so let's go ahead and dive in there and start working on that. So what I'm going to do now is select this loop, and remember that's hold down Alt and right click, and it'll select the whole loop. And then I want to select this other loop up here as well, but since it's the end of the set, basically, of vertices going up, you can only select one side of it, so you got to select each vertex individually. So we'll just scale that down and then drag it back some. Let's go ahead and add a loop right here, Control R. And let's see, I guess I need to turn on the script here, right? There we go. Just set that up to 30. So you can see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. There we go. Remember, N opens the Properties tab there. Okay. So make his nostrils a little more well defined. And if you put the closer you put an edge to another edge, the sharper the angle is going to be between them. So the reason I put another loop right there so close to this one is I want the outer edge of the nostril there to be pretty sharp, so I can raise up the inside of it some without affecting the final outside edge. Let's scale that down. Okay, so that's looking decent, but I think it's too small. So let's grab the edges here and there, and just drag them on the x-axis. Or you don't have to hit X or anything, just drag them horizontally. And just kind of sculpture your nose to get the way you want. When I do these tutorials, I don't put as much detail as I normally would if I was building it on my own. I can spend hours working on one little piece if I'm just kind of putzing around and doing it on my own. But for the sake of expedience, as I'm showing you the techniques here, the finished model wouldn't quite be as detailed as it could be. So if you have the time, feel free to go on and add as much detail to it as you like. And oops, grabbed the wrong thing there. Speaking of detail, let's go ahead and add one more loop right across here. So I can let's go ahead and click again. So I can add a little bit of variation here on this nostril. Let's bring it up some, maybe towards the side a little bit. Kind of just round it out a little bit better. Okay, so that's starting to look okay. Let's get this outer edge here, bring it down some. Okay, so still not quite happy. Let's grab these. I hit C, as you can see here in the window, and select all these guys here. I'm going to hit W, go down to Smooth, and I don't want that guy. Smooth that a couple of times. You can W smooth, or you can change the iterations here like this. And I've done it a few too many times, so let me just Control Z a few times here. And then just do it one more. There we go. And kind of looking a little funny there. Let's drag this down. And we'll call that good. Okay, so we have the mouth and the nose now. Let's go ahead and jump in and do the eye socket. Now I'm just going to do the eye socket. I have a different technique that I like to use for the eyelids. So those will actually be a separate mesh, sort of a half sphere for the top and the bottom, so they'll be independent of the rest of the face. Sort of a claymation type of feel. So we're just going to put some circular sockets here for his eyeballs to go in. So let's just kind of get the area ready for that. And we'll just use this little area right here. Now let's just go ahead and grab that. Scale it up a little bit. Let's turn on our proportional editing. Let's go on the x-axis to get a little more narrow. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. So I'm going to extrude and just go ahead and click to lock it in, and just go ahead and scale it down. Fairly small, probably about right there. And then we'll kind of do just like we did on the mouth, just kind of extrude it in. And then maybe one more. And since the eyeballs are going to be, you know, kind of filling the hole here, we don't really need to have the socket filled in. So we can go ahead and just delete those faces. It's just a, you know, that much fewer that the computer has to render. So every little bit helps. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more eye-shaped. Make it a little bit bigger maybe. But let's get it shaped correctly first. And let's bring it in. It's a little too far outside. Now let's go ahead and turn that proportional editing back on. Scale it on the, or rotate it on the z-axis. I'm just going to scale it up just a little bit and rotate, scroll my mouse wheel so I can affect the fall off amount. And maybe a little bit closer in. Yeah, that's probably good right there. Let's go ahead and add a couple of loops here, just so we can have some elbow room when we start adding facial features or expressions later on. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and keep going with your eye socket here and create eyelids on here if you want. And then I can show you the other way as well. So just showing you my technique. You don't have to follow along precisely the way I'm doing it. Just showing you another way to do things. You can do them your own way. And by the way, what we're working on here to get all these vertices and polygons and everything in a good layout is called topology. Now, I don't claim to be the best at creating good topology, but I'm certainly better than I used to be. And if you watch Johnny Blender 1, you might see a little bit of a difference between my style back then versus my style now. Let's go ahead and add another loop right here, so we can get some more roundness to the tip of the nose. And let's select, hit A to deselect all that, and then grab these vertices down here. And why not these as well? Don't want these. Yeah, I do. Looks like we got some stuff up here. The easiest way to smooth things out when you start getting crowded vertices is just to select them all like so, and just hit smooth like we did with the nostrils earlier. Smooth that a few times. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent. Not exactly like the the concept art I came up with, but that's all it is. It's concept. It's not final proof, so it doesn't have to look exactly like that. Though I might try to go a little closer to that now that I've noticed it. Kind of round the top of the head off a little bit, square it there on the edges. And let's bring this jaw out a little bit on the sides. And maybe let's put a loop right here, so we can have a little bit more room to play right in here. Okay, so that's looking okay. Let's get the back of the jaw. Let's go to side view. And let's drag this up here and get his jaw just not quite as long. Let's grab some of these guys. Scale them on the z-axis. Bring them up some. Okay, so it's getting there. It's getting there. Let's go ahead and save this real quick. Let's save it as JB302. Save. And I'm noticing some odd shapeage, if that's a word, shapeage. And here, let's grab these guys. And like I said before, just smooth those out. In versions past of Blender, I would have grabbed the sculpt tool and used the smooth function there. But like I mentioned in part 1, they've changed the way that works, and that's no longer an option. So you have to kind of do everything in edit mode that you want to be a permanent part of the model, which I guess makes sense. Okay, so that kind of got that smoothed out. Let's bring this in here. Like I said, I could spend hours trying to get the better detail that I would if I was working on a, just a personal project that didn't really have any time limits or constraints or anything. I would spend a lot more time on the design of this guy, but we'll make it work. Okay, let's give him... You know what, I was going to give him some eyebrows here, but I think we could do that kind of like we're going to do the eyelids and just have it be as a separate piece of the model here. Doesn't necessarily have to be, part of the original mesh. We can put it on top of there. So, okay, one thing that's bugging me right here. Bring that down some. And that's pretty decent there on the face. Let's add a little bit of flair to it, a little bit of style, other than what we've got already. And what I want to do now is kind of sharpen the edges up here, so it looks more like he's not quite claymation, but maybe carved out of wood or something like that. So let's just tab into edit mode, and like I said before, the closer your edges are together, the sharper the edges, or the sharper the angle is going to be between them. So if we add another loop right here, like this, and just drag it forward, you can see the edge there starting to sharpen up. Now I don't want to get it too sharp. He doesn't want to cut his finger when he shaves. Cut yourself shaving? Yeah, with my chin. Don't want him to do that, so we'll just give it a nice, fairly sharp angle, and then call that part good. I'd kind of like to smooth it up here on the cheeks. Just want that sharp angle there on the chin and jaw. So let's just grab this whole area up here, I guess. Don't want that guy back there. Okay. W smooth, and we'll just set the iterations up here. And then maybe drag this one up. Okay, so that's working pretty good, I think. Pretty well. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's work on some ears. Now, like the nose, they're not going to be real detailed. They're going to be probably the least detailed part of our model here. Let's grab the face select tool, and let's grab, let's say, these two faces right there, and then we'll go to front view. I know in the concept here I don't really have ears, but I know what they look like in my head, so that's what we'll go with. So let's just bring these out here. About yay big. I'm from Oklahoma. I can get away with saying yay big. Just scale them down. And let's add a loop here to get a nice crease there at the beginning. And let's go ahead and grab the corners of it. We don't want them to have elf ears, so we'll smooth that down and grab these. And let's give it a little bit of definition. So we'll grab the polygon select, the face select tool, and grab the fronts of the ears. Let's go ahead and extrude once. Don't really move the mouse at all, and turn off proportional editing and scale that down. You can actually Alt S to get it scaled. It's not really going the way I want, so just S by itself will work. Okay, and then we'll extrude back into the earlobe a little bit. And there we go, some basic ears. Okay, so this is taking shape. Let's turn the subsurf down. This is a little laggy as I'm rotating it around. Okay. I'm liking where this is going, but I think it's a little too flat. So let's go into edit mode. Let's grab everything, put our 3D cursor right in the middle. Let's with your left mouse button, just click in there. And now we're going to do what's called, well, I don't really remember what it's called. We're going to set everything to move around the 3D cursor. So if we rotated, it would rotate around the 3D cursor, and if we scale, it's going to scale it around the 3D cursor there. So I don't want to scale it this way at all. I think that's fine, but I would like to scale it on the x-axis here. So I'm going to hit S and then X and just drag it towards itself a little bit, about like so, and then we'll tab out. So there we go. A little more better. The eyes seem to be not quite as round as they were, so let's go ahead and try to fix those up. And it kind of has a surprised expression. Let's bring it, well, we're going to have separate eyebrows as far as the hair part of the eyebrows go, but the actual protrusion of the brow, we will have a subtle place here for that. Okay, let's make his chin come out just a little bit. It kind of looks like it's going back some. Let's grab those. And remember, earlier, I don't know if you caught it, I turned on the proportional editing again. And we're still rotating around the cursor. I don't want that. Let's go back to the median point, which is the default. Rotate this out some, and I'll go ahead and drag it right there. Okay, now you might notice a little bit of difference in style here. The jaw is nice and sharp. The ears are relatively sharp around the edge. And let's set this to subdivision up so we can see that a little better. Let's actually sharpen those ears a little bit more. Let's add another loop right here. And then one more inside there. And then why not one around there. Okay. So yeah, we got the relatively sharp chin, the sharp edge on the ears. Kind of looking kind of weird right there. Let's see what we can do to fix that. Let's put a loop right here. Yeah. That's a little better. Maybe it's a little too sharp. Let's grab those loops we just made. And we don't need these guys. You know, we probably don't even need these guys. There we go. And we will W smooth a couple of times. There we go. That'll work. And he'll probably have sideburns or something to cover up any weirdness we might have here in the corners. So, okay, anyways, sharp chin, sharp ears. Let's sharpen the nose up some. So let's go into side view here. And let's grab these guys and move them. Actually, we got our proportional fall off too high, so let's scroll our mouse wheel to get that down. Let's move those a little closer to these. Kind of try to sharpen that up a little. Okay, so how's that look? Yeah, that's looking good. Kind of a hawk nose looking thing now, which is not desirable for me, so let's go ahead and fix that up. Go to side view. Let's go ahead and grab that whole tip and just kind of raise it up some. Maybe rotate it down. You know, let's maybe sharpen the top of it just a little bit as well. About like so. Okay, it's getting there, it's getting there. Okay. I think we're looking good. His nose is probably way too big, but I guess it'll probably be fine for now. I got some weirdness going right here. Let's fix this real quick. Okay, that'll work. I guess this will work. Let's go ahead and sharpen the eyebrows up. Put a loop in right here. Drag it down about like so. And we need to smooth some of this area up back here where we've got those extra loops in. And maybe these as well. Okay. Smooth a couple of times. And what's going on right here? I don't know. Let's select this whole area here. And smooth that. Okay. It's not perfect. Could I probably spend a little bit more time on it. But for part 2, we are just about out of time, actually over time, if I stay with my 20-minute. Let's try what I was doing. My 20-minute time limit. So we'll call part 2 done. Go ahead and save this one. And on part 3, we'll get into start sculpting the hair mesh, I guess, and the eyebrows maybe. Maybe the eyelids. We'll see how far we get. So, okay, so thanks for watching part 2, and I'll catch you in part 3.